Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. I hope your week has been going good. I am super excited for this episode. What I want to talk to you about has So when working on Project Akali, one of the main things that kind of I thought of from the very beginning is I really wanted the dramatic and action shot. I wanted to be high intensity, high speed, and very intense image. Because I feel like in her catalog we don't really have a splash like that. And one thing also that I did for Akali, and something I generally do for my process, is I like to do studies. As you see on the right, some of it is from Destiny, some of it is just random studies I found on Pinterest. It's just to try and get a feel for the thematic, whatever I'm working on, or things I know I might have a difficult time with. In this case, I wanted to just focus on some hard sci-fi elements, since I knew this illustration was going to contain a lot of it. For this one, I kind of liked the action in this image, but the one concern I had was we don't see much of her face. It was very much of a profile view shot, but I still wanted to try it out and present it. Kind of like, in traditional animes and Naruto and Ninja Scroll, whenever they're jumping, it's like they have this particular pose behind them. And this is kind of similar in Spire, just flipped so you see more in front, because we don't lose that face, because I feel like the face is a pretty key aspect whenever you're doing a splash image. And I really like the concept of the mask itself for the splash. So that was definitely a big focus area that I wanted to maintain. And preparing these sketches is trying to try different things, a lot of different ideas I was thinking about in order to pitch it to the team who's working on it. So when I did all my thumbnails, I went over to the team, I pitched it, I talked about the different ideas for each one of them, to try and get some feels, what's going to work well for the product, what's going to work well for the champion, and just gather a bunch of different ideas before I then move forward to start rendering the image. Once I've gathered all the feedback, I feel pretty comfortable moving forward, and I felt like this one was hitting a lot of the feels and tones that the team wanted, that I was personally excited about. So from this point on, it's just about rendering it and trying to bring it up to a higher quality. Because the thumbnail was pretty rough, but it had the essence of what I needed. So now it's all about sculpting and bringing out the form. And just keeping it slow and steady. Yeah, and I personally, whenever I like to do work, especially splash art, is I prefer to start with black and white as early as I can and slowly build it up and just really sculpt the form that way. I have a lot of amazing coworkers who start with line work, but for me, I like to keep it black and white. And I'm just slowly building it up. I was thinking this takes place in her smoke. She dropped it down. There's smoke everywhere, and in the back you see a bit of mist, and you see Jinx just letting loose with her machine gun, and that was a pretty exciting moment for me. And I try to keep true to the essence of that idea throughout the whole process. In the thumbnail, it was kind of suggested, but I wanted to emphasize it even more. I really want to push up the smoke clouds and pump up the bloom and the Jinx in the background as well. Considering it's Akali, we don't want Jinx to take too much attention, but I definitely want her to be visible and the smoke cloud. So if we jump forward a bit in time, some rendering has gone by, still keeping the essence of the image. The Jinx is a bit more defined and just starting to render things more. Also, her hair is holographic, so tried some stuff to try and make it pop and see how it would look. It would pop up the back of the head even more. And just adding small details here and there. The essence of the image is getting there. The lighting is starting to feel pretty good. At this point in time also, I had a schedule shift, so I had to jump on another illustration. So as you're gonna see in a bit, I had to pass on the illustration to a coworker and a friend of mine, Jeremy, to keep rendering on it, and later on in the process I jumped back and I closed out the image. And I was that's a pretty awesome thing I feel like on our team, is you can pass on illustrations between each other, and I feel like it'll make the image even better, because you're gonna get different point of views in the image, and it just help level it up as a whole. So as I get ready to pass it on to my coworker, I've tried to answer most of the major questions, blocking the light, blocking the shadows, just to kind of leave pretty straightforward in terms of rendering what's needed. And after passing on the image to my coworker, you can see the result. He did an amazing job of rendering. And after that, I took it back. There are things I wanted to keep pushing more. Particularly, I wanted to bring out Jinx a bit more and work a bit on Akali's face. And I also noticed, because it's important for us to compare the splash to the 3D model, I had to bring, because I started going a bit too dark in the values, in the dark areas of the character. And I had to bring it a bit back up because the model itself, it has much more lighter gray patches. But I kind of also wanted to balance it with the lighting scenario. And playing around with the background, I like to use blur a lot. I feel like it adds much more of a cinematic feel. And the fact that there's so much movement in the image, I kind of really wanted to play around with blur to help emphasize that she's dashing right at you. Imagine she just used her R or her W and her R and just coming straight at you. I also talked a bit with the concept artist who designed her regarding the blade tip itself. There was he was hoping that we could show something to try to show that the blade is a bit more holographic. So adding a bit of trim kind of helps suggest that the blade is created from a hologram. And also one thing that we did for all the project splashes was to have a sort of texture on the holographic weapons. So I tried to mimic that. After this, I went back and did some edits to it, but it's something we wanted to do to tie it all together a bit more. And just working up some details here and there, pretty zoomed out. There are certain faces where I zoomed in a lot, and like the face was a part I spent a lot of time on. I zoomed in and tried to really go through it, and just trying to trim off some of the edges as well, because I noticed sometimes for me there's some artifacts from earlier stages in the process where you just forget certain pieces sticking out, and I just have to go back and fix it. But that was kind of the general essence of the image. I had a lot of fun making it, and I'm super happy that Jeremy helped take over the rendering while I had to switch over to another illustration. I hope you enjoyed the image. It was a bit of a shorter process, but I had a lot of fun making the illustration. I wanted to share some thoughts process behind it, share a bit of the collaboration we do at work, and I hope this will be helpful to some way in some degree. I also do work is very different from my personal work, so I always think it's fun to show that contrast. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for watching. And I hope if you're an Akali player, I hope you enjoyed the skin in game. I know I'll be playing it, so maybe I'll see you in the Rift. Have a wonderful day. Bye. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I had a lot of fun making it. As always, I get a lot of help from my whole team, the Splash team, and the team who worked on Akali in order to make her who she is. So as always, thank you so much for all the help to my team and coworkers, and I hope you enjoyed the video itself. I hope you're going to enjoy Akali when she comes out, and thank you so much for the support. If you subscribe, you'll be notified when next video comes out, and be sure to let me know in the comment section below your thoughts. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye!